Welcome to Unit 10. This is Cybersecurity and Global Impacts. This is our final unit. This unit, you're going to have a project that's going to span 6 or 7 lessons, and you're going to have 6 or 7 lessons that are just regular lessons. So you're going to do the project as a group, but you're also going to have an individual part to turn in. Now, you'll be placed in those groups, and you'll be in the same group for the entirety of this unit. Unit 10, again, is Cybersecurity and Global Impact. This is Lesson 1, Project Innovation Simulation, Part 1. At the conclusion of this, you will be able to identify a computing innovation and understand how to conduct research on a computing innovation. First off, you all are going to be doing this. You're going to be invited to a future school convention. Welcome to the Future School Convention. You have been chosen to attend this convention because you represent an important stakeholder in the broader school community. Together with a small group, you will brainstorm and research computing innovations that you believe will have a positive impact on the future school. At the end of the convention, your team will pitch your best idea to a panel of judges. Now, for your roles and your teams, I will be placing you in groups, okay? There'll be 5 people in each group. If we get to the point where we need to, we might have 2 groups with 4, something like that. But best bet, we'll have 5 people in a group. Within each group, you will be assigned a character and a bio. During the simulation, you must remain in character. So anytime we're doing the simulation, you need to remain in character. Your responses should be from your character's point of view, not your personal point of view. Okay, now we've got these 4 groups, A, B, C, D, and then you have a number, 1, 5, 9, 13, or 17. What you will do is you will go out and in the Canvas, in Unit 10, Lesson 1, I have some files called bios. You're going to go to bio 1 or bio 5 or bio 11 or bio 15, and you're going to read it. And that's the person whose personality you're going to take over for the simulation. So as I put you into groups, I want you to go out there and check out your bios. Now, simulation mode. Once you have the bio number that you need to be, and you know the people in your group, I want you to read over your role sheet. Okay, again, that's in Canvas. You can go out there and access it. And then I'm going to put you into breakout rooms with your group. You need to read over your role sheet and introduce yourself to your group. Introduce yourself as the person you're representing. Okay? So again, in class, I would send you out. If you're just watching this, then you know what we did, and you can contact me to find out who you are and which group you're in. Now, what I'd like for you to do this is, if you're virtual, you need to display your character name so that others know who you are during the simulation. So you can take a piece of paper, whatever, put it in so that we can see who you are, okay? And remember, you want to stay in character for the entire simulation. You should, when you tell us who you are, virtually in Zoom, you need to have your name and who you are, what you are. Are you a student? Are you a parent? Are you a staff, a teacher, etc.? Okay? So make sure that you do that. Again, it can be some kind of a name tag. It can be something that you set somewhere so that it can be visible in Zoom. Now, our activity today. Computing innovations are created by people to solve problems. They include programs as part of how they function. Without a program, it's not a computing innovation. Computing innovations can be physical, for example, a self-driving car. They could be non-physical computing software, example, picture editing software. Or non-physical computing concepts, for example, e-commerce. The way lives are lived has changed because of computing innovations. We're going to watch a short video to remind ourselves of this fact. If you're watching this video because you missed class, then please, in Canvas, You need to also watch the video that goes along in this lesson. There will be a link so you can watch it. So pause now and go watch Computer Science is Changing Everything. If we're in class, I would click and watch this video. Again, watching a video and a video for whatever reason with Smart doesn't work so well. So pause the video here, go watch it from Canvas. Now, with your group, you'll be brainstorming. Okay? So with your team, you're going to brainstorm computing innovations that you believe would be beneficial to the future school. And you're going to write your list on a piece of paper. You're not going to do anything else with it. Just write your list down. What types of computing innovations do you think would be fantastic for school? Now, one thing you want to consider as you come up with these is a program an important part of how the innovation works? You know, pencil and paper, that was cool, but it doesn't take a program, right? So if there's no program, there's no software that makes this work, it might not be a computing innovation, and you want to identify a computing innovation. So back to your breakout rooms, and you have 10 minutes to brainstorm and come up with your list with your group. When you finish with that, we're going to come back. And what I want you to do is reflect. You're going to have your innovation simulation project guide. And again, you can access that from Canvas in Unit 10, Lesson 1. I want you to use the given space in your guide, and you can do it software, you can print it out however you want. I put it out there both as a PDF and as a Word. So you can reflect on your specific wants and needs and what types of computing innovations would appeal to you. Now note that when I say appeal to you, in your role as a teacher, as a bus driver, as a student, as a parent, as an administrator. Okay, so stay in your role when you do this reflection. Okay? And again, not going back to your breakout rooms, just giving yourself 10 minutes, and you're going to be filling out that spot in on your project guide. Okay, now I put this in here. Please make sure that you write down your character's name on your project guide. At the top, there's a spot for you to put your actual name and your actual period. But within the guide, you put your character's name and your role, the role being teacher, student, bus driver, administrator, and what type of administrator. Right here, this is where you're going to put your reflection. Consider what your character would want or need in a computing innovation for the future school, and explain why. Remember that what an administrator might want may be different than a student, which may be different than a parent. So go from your perspective. You've got 10 minutes. Now, modeling research. I'm going to model some research because this is what you're going to do next class. Between now and next class, you can sort of start getting started on things. In next class, you're going to get that research in, okay? So what do? Well, we're going to go on to Google or Bing or any other, Yahoo, whatever search engine it is that you want. Now, you're going to be filling out 3 of these, Computing Innovation 1, 2, and 3. You need to come up with 3 different ones and do a little bit of research. Notice there's not a ton of space here, so you're not doing crazy amounts of research, little bits, okay? You're going to need what is the innovation, why does it exist, how it works, the sources, that's the URL, the title of the article, etc., and then what data is being collected. What data is collected and used in the program that makes this thing work? And then my character would recommend this computing innovation because. And you're going to do 3 of these. So you're doing a big high-level snapshot of 3 different innovations and finding out some information. Let's look and see how this is going to work. Okay, first off, I'm not going to do education because that's what you all are going to do. So I'm going to say long-distance travel computing innovations. All right, I type this into my Google search bar, or again, it could be Bing or Yahoo. As a matter of fact, it might not be a bad idea to try a couple of different search engines. You'll come up with different articles. Okay, now look to see, this is a blog. I don't know this blog. Travel and leisure. I know that that is a magazine. And so this might have some good information. Forbes, that's another magazine. It's a solid reference. And again, so you want to look at who it is. This blog.tortugabackpacks.com, this might be excellent. It might be a wonderful source. It could also be a sketchy source. So unless you know about it, find something that you have pretty good confidence is a solid source. So here are 15 tech innovations that will change the way you travel. I could look at that. I could look at 10 examples of customer experience innovation for travel. And remember, I want computing innovation. So I do want to look for technology, something that's got programs. So you might have to bounce around in some of these. Now, once I figured that out, I clicked on the one for travel and leisure. And it had a bunch of stuff. And as I was going through, I was like, virtual reality. Imagine exploring realistically rendered 3D replicas of real-world locations, such as Angkor Wat, without mosquitoes or tour bus hordes, way beyond what's currently available on Second Life and Google Earth. The Oculus Rift virtual reality headset may be aimed at gamers, but it has clear potential for virtual tourism. Virtual tourism. So that's something I could look up. So if I think that this would be a cool thing for trips, think COVID. People couldn't go anywhere. All of a sudden, you could go somewhere virtually and you could experience it. Is it as good as being there? Probably not. But hey, we do what we can. So here, virtual reality trip goggles. And then I could have spelled it out, the Oculus One. Purpose, why they exist? Well, they're cheaper, there's no passport, safer. If you're afraid of flying, you don't have to fly someplace. You don't have bugs, you don't have crowds of people. During COVID times, you could actually travel. You didn't have to worry about quarantining. Okay, so you could have a whole bunch of purposes here why this might be a good thing to use. But none of that told me how it worked. Well, sources. I could list the one source, but I have to go somewhere else and I have to find out how does it work and what data is being collected. So again, I go back to Google or Yahoo or Bing and virtual reality tourism, how it works. And I say, all right, a VR tourism video works much like a normal video, okay? And it shows here immersive VR. Could look there. Again, look through everything that comes up. Look at what's given. Wikipedia is a good source, as are tourism websites. You've got to be careful. Some product websites may be more advertisement, but they might also have good information. Look for technical reviews, okay? And again, notice VR tourism videos are captured using specialist cameras known as omnidirectional cameras. So that gives you a little bit of information about the type of data. But I might need more. So I'm going to say virtual reality tourism data collected. And again, here's all of this. The age of virtual reality tourism is fast approaching. I could click there. ScholarWorks UMass. This University of Massachusetts, good solid source. I could look in there and I could see what kind of data is being collected. How does virtual reality tourism work? All of this I could then put into, these three spaces. This is just my sources. And then my character would recommend this computing innovation because, and state why. You know, in 2020, 2021, travel wasn't quite as free and easy. People were worried about trips getting canceled or arriving in a location and having to quarantine, spending their entire vacation quarantining instead of enjoying the vacation. So this was a way to go and see and do without risking it. It costs less money. If you didn't have a passport, or if you were afraid of flying, or any number of other reasons, I could list that here. And again, I could look at it from the perspective of being a travel agent or being a traveler, either one. Now, as a wrap up, as we go through this simulation, notice up here, the innovation simulation header is gone, and that means that it's time for you to return to your normal self. When you see, when we're doing innovation simulation, when you see this up here, that means you need to stay in character. And these are my examples, so you need to stay in character while we were going through here. When we get down to the point where we're wrapping it up and we leave the simulation, now you can resume your own identity. And your answers to questions can be from your own perspective, not that of your character. What is the purpose of a computing innovation? Well, a computing innovation includes a program as an integral part of its function. It can be physical, non-physical, or non-physical concept, such as self-driving cars, picture editing software, or e-commerce. Computing innovations are the wave of the future. It's the next data information. We're moving into a new realm. Next class, we're going to continue the project, and you're going to be doing your research and filling out those boxes. So it's going to take some time. So you can get started on it now in this class, okay? But next class, we're going to get into it a little bit more.